On watching Tuesday.
Jerry, before you clean the top for this
Yeah,
stuff.
I know.
Okay.
I do that all the time.
Thank you.
You can be late.
Every, everyone that is online right now, we're just waiting to reach quorum, so we just ask you to remain muted before we start a meeting. Thank you. Yeah, I guess I had to be talking from there, not here from the double feedback.
You can hear the microphone though?
Yeah, and that's one thing I wanted to.
Oh.
Yeah. So very investable. If we were to people will talk to the podium to speak, you have to be pretty much close to the mic. Maybe with the microphone, just kind of like stand stationary. Working getting sound upgraded. I told that happens because when people start moving around on their mouth, close to them, like people on Zoom can hear. You're gonna get guys, we need you to be like, oh, really close to the mic. You know, we need some gentle reminders.
All good.
So we need six. Need one more. In person.
I put out snacks if you're hungry. And sparkling apple cider, not alcoholic, so please don't be shy. This is for anybody who's here, if you want something or at any point during the meeting.
And then full roll and we'll see.
Yeah.
And then if we're short, then we could just like wait.
That is certainly.
That's
Okay, wait, okay, so.
Oh, then we do. So we got four. Full roll. I just need you to, yes.
Thank you for the slides.
Yeah, great, especially in meeting. So thank you. So my name is Katie Walsh, this is John DeLuper. I'm the chair and the vice chair for the transportation committee meeting for tonight for December 10th. And so we are going to call the meeting to order. I'll just give a heads up on the agenda and then we'll do a roll. So first we're doing co-naming. I think we have a couple of representatives who are here, maybe virtually, who are going to be able to share their support for the co-naming application for Joseph Lombardi for Prospect West between Windsor Place and 16. So when the time comes to that, we'll call on them. Then if there's anyone in the room who also wanted to be part of providing their testimony for support for that co-naming, do that. And then that will require a vote. So from them to vote in the transportation committee. The second agenda item is just to review any feedback that has been received to date from that went through Committee Board 7 on the open streets that's in place already and has been in place at the start of the school year on 54th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue. Emails that have been sent. I don't know if we have anybody who's in the room or online who wanted to provide feedback who currently live in or experience anything on the block that they want to share. But then I know if we have I think a representative from LEAP in the room as well, can just share the strategies that they have undertaken. And then the third one is going to have a little bit of movement in the room, and I'll have to think about how to do this virtually, but we're going to have a discussion on requests that we have to the Department of Transportation on priority intersections and corridors, and especially in mind of any sensitive locations. And so those locations might be things like parks and schools and daycare and banks and senior centers. You might be other sensitive locations. There are many issues that this community board and this transportation committee has tackled on particular places where there have been accidents, fatalities. And so most recently, had a neighbor come because she lost her mother on 7th Avenue and 41st Street, and she provided testimony at the last meeting. So that's one of the intersections that we want to put on the list. But what we're actually going to do, I'll walk everybody through at that point, is we'll kind of get to a little bit of small groups. We'll use some post-it notes and come back. We're not going to go through this here collectively. I'm going to put those together, and then we'll compile them and then share them in the next meeting. And then we have a report back from the community board members who went on the Greenway tour and planning for some kind of celebration in the spring when it's done. And then also just talk about report back Third Avenue street safety improvement, business engagement, and next steps on the Third Avenue safety. So it's a big meeting. We haven't met in a while. And I'm trying to be disciplined each of these agenda items for the discussion. And with that, I'd like to call, we'll do roll.
Katie Walsh,
Present.
John DeLuper,
Present.
Joan Body, George Cardona,
Present.
thank you. Jerry Chan,
Present.
thank you. Danny DeBear, Camila Morales Escamilla, Matthew Florkowitz, thank you. Jamie Freed, thank you. Daniel Kaminsky, Roberto A. Martinez, Maria Roca, Samuel Sierra, thank you. And Faye Walker. We have one of 8 members.
Okay. Great. So thanks everyone else who joined, in addition to our board members, community members, forums. That's great. So we'll start out with this first agenda item, and this is the naming. I believe we have copies. I think they're sitting right there. Maybe Sam, you don't mind. Oh yeah. Oh, Sam has a question. Okay, we might need you to speak in the mic.
Can hear you.
And then we're going to go to the co-naming. We're going to hand out I was going to ask you to hand out the co-naming sheets, and then, but please ask your question. Oh, not those, sorry.
My questions pertaining to process.
Might get it closer, sorry.
I wanted to ask, with regard to the co-naming of the street for Joe Longobardi. Knowing that Joe was a friend of our community, he was a friend to everybody. Everybody knew Joe. Anyway, my question is, can a committee member make a motion on the floor for this committee to support the co-naming of the street to Joe Longobardi? That's my question. Thank you.
I would say that normally that's how it works, is we do have to have a motion before it can be voted on.
I was saying that.
Oh, you want a motion right now before we hear the presenter?
Yes. I mean, yes. The presenters are, they're going to speak about Joe, yes. We all know and we love Joe.
I'm so sorry. Listen, we need to keep you on, we would need to keep you on mic, but I understand the intent of your question, which is just around process. And so we'll go ahead and we'll follow the same process that we do for all co-namings, in the sense that we're going to that is circulating among the board members who are going to have to take a vote. We'll just hear a couple of people people who are providing testimony. And then actually I think it's a little bit in terms of time that has passed. There's a lot of board members who had to take the vote tonight who actually didn't get to know him. And so I think this is a really special way of being able to honor him and hear as part of the process. So with that, I think we've got folks here virtually, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so
For those who are attending virtually who want to speak on agenda item number 1, if you can use the raise your hand function and just wait to be called. You'll be asked to unmute yourself and then.
I think what we would ask if you can possibly do is 3 minutes, and I'll just, as folks are putting their hand up, I just want to acknowledge. So Joseph Lombardi was on the community board for many years. Did hear from a lot of people who had served with him. He, from in the Windsor Terrace community, he was a pillar for many decades, and owned a business. There were people who talked about the fact that when people would come to his first issues of being able to pay, he would find a way to kind of comp them. And so that was just kind of how Joe showed up in the community, in addition to his service on the community board. And I know, again, there might be some other sentiment that's here, but the application that you have in front of you came from his daughter with some of the letters. So in the spirit of that, we'll just let those know.
Gina Lovello, if you could just unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hi, Gina.
We can hear you.
Hi. All right. It's a little choppy to hear you, so I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't get to catch all of what was said, but I did prepare a little presentation, just a little bit that I wanted to say about the why behind the co-naming. So I'm just going to go ahead and read what I wrote. And first, I wanted to say thank you for the invite to the transportation meeting this evening. I am joined by family and friends who took the time to share their experiences with my dad. I feel honored to be part of this co-naming in a place where my dad spent so many hours as a community board member. I wanted to talk a little bit about my dad and the why behind my request to have this street co-naming in his honor. First of all, for any of you who were lucky enough to know him, you knew the magic that he possessed. He had a way of making everyone feel like they were the most important person in the room. He was genuine and he was a very rare commodity. He worked hard and he was a staple in our little neighborhood of Windsor Terrace. He lived the American dream. As an immigrant, he adapted to his life as a Brooklyn boy, never leaving the borough. It was his natural inclination to help people, whether it was a local teen who needed a sponsor for their sports team, a family member who needed financial help, or a stranger. He never turned his back on anyone. Co-naming a street in his honor, where he owned businesses, where he raised his family, and where he served this community, would be just a constant reminder of the impact that he made in this neighborhood, and will remind us of all of the great that he has done. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Gina. Do we have any other questions?
If anybody else wants to speak on the street co-naming for Joseph Lombardi, please raise your hand and you'll be called upon.
Okay, and then if not virtually, then I actually would like to pass.
We have one more person.
Maybe I'll go to the room and then I'll come back virtually. Actually, give Sam, do you want to take the mic and just tell folks anything more you want to share? Okay, thank you.
Articulate any better than the young lady just. She said it all.
Okay, thank you. Someone who served with him, thank you. Okay, and then we'll go back virtually.
Mary Bucoli, if you could please unmute yourself, you're able to speak for 3 minutes.
Oh, thank you. I don't need 3 minutes. I just wanted to second what Gina said and the gentleman who's in the room. I think you could have had 100 people here tonight, and Gina tried to keep it small, but Joe definitely is exactly the kind of person we should honor. He was so important in our community, and grateful for him, and hope that you will co-name the street. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I just wanted to say too, I know Pat Ruiz, leadership, she wasn't able to make it tonight. She also had sent support for the proposal, and then everything that you see here, we heard from Robbie Carroll and a few other representatives in addition to the signatures. So we are going to move to a vote, but I just want to pause and say the reason we do these, we leave time for these code namings and the reason we leave time for testimony is it's part of our job as the transportation committee, it's part of our job as the community board to really celebrate and recognize individuals who've made outstanding commitments and how they've showed up in their service. And so I know we look at lots of different things in front of this community board, in front of the transportation committee, but this is one of those sweeter recognition moments that we're able to do. So I just want to appreciate everybody, whether or not it's somebody that you knew, or if we have a future co-naming, whether it's someone you knew personally. So I would propose that we do this by unanimous consent, and that we the resolution in front of us is the co-naming purchase of Lombardi for Prospect S Place and 16th Street. So just as a reminder of process, doing this by unanimous consent has to be sent. Is there any objections from community board, transportation members? Is there a second? Okay. Sam seconds, okay. Hearing no objections, we'll go ahead and proceed with the community board 7 for support for this co-naming. Thank you so much. Thank you. Gina, thank you. Well, I'd like to go to our next agenda item, and this is specifically any feedback if we have any virtually or in the room on school open streets that operates between 54th Street on 54th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue for the LEAP Charter School. So the LEAP Charter School did a big gut renovation of the old bank building that is on 54th Street at that corner of 5th Avenue, and they were able to increase their size, enrollment, and then what they were able to do through this application through DOT School Open Streets sets up ways that the street closes down to accommodate the young people to be able to have outdoor time, to be able to have recess, and it's also meant to facilitate sort of safe access in and out, and whether that again is in this drop off or pick up, and that's really the nature of the fact that it is a building that has been repurposed, which I think is something that we were seeing in lots of places for schools. In this instance, the implications for the actual street that it is adjacent to. So I'm gonna leave time because again, I don't know if there's anyone in the room or virtually on this agenda item, but it's here because we wanted to acknowledge the fact that we had received some emails that had come in from members, presumably neighbors. I mean, people did list their address that live on that street. And that a lot of that was during the fall, summer, right into the fall, as process was rolling out. And there were concerns about the change and the use of the street, concerns about the signage and not really understanding what was being proposed. Also, just basic concern that parking would no longer be available for that section. And also the letter that they had received, the neighbors had received from the charter schools, the way it was written implied that the whole block was closed and the whole block was closed for parking. It was like the way in which it was read and the intent. So there were a lot of requests and emails that came through characterizing everyone's concerns correctly. There were a lot of emails that came through, which we then compiled and we sent them to the Department of Transportation. I believe Emily is online. She's not feeling well, so she's doing virtually, but she's still here to be.
Yeah, I'm here.
And so we sent those to DOT. So DOT, Emily, we do have someone from LEAP who's in the room just to be able to hear any additional concerns. But maybe could I turn to you to just say what you got from the feedback and how you guys actioned it?
Hold on, I gotta unmute her.
Are you asking me or
The direct question is the feedback that was shared. I know that you said you took the concerns and then you were progressing on next steps. So you could just let us know what steps you took.
yeah, I think there's representatives from the charter school in the building right now that can speak clearer about it, if you're willing. If not, happy to do so.
You want to talk about it, Bernard?
Yeah,
Okay.
David said the mic is also choppy, so
Okay, well, we'll keep running things. I'll ask Bernard from LEAP to come up, and there's a mic, so you just have to go in front.
You're right here.
And so in
Really close.
yeah, and you can just say any steps that you took and in response to the feedback that you got, and then we'll keep going to the agenda. Thank you.
Hi, good evening.
Hello.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening, and we appreciate the ongoing dialogue between LEAP and our community. As we continue implementing this is our first year in the New York City Open Streets program. But I'd like to briefly begin by our timeline of compliance. So on March 31st, we formally submitted our application, which was new for me. And I had just gotten to the role that year, so just hoping to open the street, close it for our kids during recess. In spring 2025, we received multiple letters of support from local businesses, a neighborhood resident, the United Senior Citizens of Sunset Park, and our medical office that is actually next door to our school. On June 18th, we actually received official approval, which we were thankful for. June 24th, we signed our operational agreement and sent it back to DOT. On August 25th, we distributed the first round of community notices and posted signage throughout the block. Again, on November 10th, after we met with Emily, we issued a second round of notices. In that time, it's important to emphasize that this is not a year-round closure. It is not an all-day street closure. It's recess related, and the closure only occurs on school days, weather permitting. Since November 9th, we have not closed the street for recess due to the inclement weather, and all closures since that date have been exclusively for dismissal. Our current schedule for dismissal is as follows: Monday through Thursday, 3 to 3:45, and Fridays from 1 to 3:35. The road will also remain open from December 20th to January 5th while we're on winter break. Throughout this process, we've tried to maintain strong and positive relationships with our neighbors and local organizations, and we can constantly accept feedback from the community as we recognize the value of providing our kids with safe and dedicated outdoor recess space. In closing, it's always been our goal to provide safe environment for our students and our families while keeping open communication and collaboration with our neighbors. We try to remain committed to our transparency, partnership, and responsive adjustments as needed. Thank you.
Thank you. And maybe stay up there for just a quick second, just in case we have any questions that come in. I live close by, so I just want to say a big change in the signage. I think that you guys made a lot of efforts. There's stuff that's wrapped around the trees, and it's very explicit. It like shows the time. It says no parking, and you have the NYPD signs up, but everything is like very secure, right? On all of those. can't be precise, but I think I noticed like a couple weeks ago, like that it went up. And I know there had been signage, but it just seems like there's like another level of effort. So I want to, acknowledge that communication that you guys are trying to give to everybody. And again, if there are any additional questions or comments, again, I'll if this hands are up, just say from the neighbors or any additional comments that the community boards have been received, you can follow up after this meeting and just send any additional comments. But did we get anything online? Oh, okay. We do, is this about this agenda item? Oh, okay. Yeah. So there is a mic that's up here. Is there, we don't have someone here who can do the translation, but maybe there's going to be a volunteer. There's going to be a volunteer. Okay, we got 2 volunteers. Thank you. And just speak into the mic and then, thank you.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Yayazán, estudiante de Digo. Is that to keep the mic close to her mouth?
Yeah.
Yeah, if she comes up here. Buenas noches, mi nombre es Yayazán Cano, madre de un estudiante de LIP. Luchamos por conseguir ese permiso para la recreación de nuestros niños. El espacio solo se utiliza por poco tiempo y nuestra escuela tiene sus tiempos, por ejemplo, si hay una emergencia que tiene que salir, viene una ambulancia o alguna otra emergencia, tiene sus protocolos y las agentes de seguridad que de momento mueven a los niños. Y incluso en esa cuadra ha habido vecinos que no solo en la calle, a veces pelean el pasillo o porque uno se recargue y se tiene que se recargue uno en su banqueta porque como dicen ellos es privado y se entiende. Pero la calle es una recreación para los niños y vamos a luchar porque se mantenga porque no lo utilizamos para economizar nada. Estamos, somos responsables nosotros y otra cosa, ¿cómo les explico? Apoyemos más a nuestros niños. No sabemos cuántos niños serán encerrados en sus casas, tienen la posibilidad de salir, correr, expresarse. Veo que estos niños, la escuela ha cambiado mucho, los niños son felices, ellos están progresando en lo emocional y lo en su educación está alto, porque cuando yo entré en esa escuela estaba bajo.
Wow, what are we saying?
I'm going to be very impressed. We get all
Well,
of that.
we'll get some of it. It's really important to fight for the street closure because the way that the kids are able to play, express themselves, and be outside is really important for their growth and their health. When there are ambulances and when there's emergencies that are needed, there are ways that the students are taught to just go to the side. They have emergency cards, and it's all very orderly. So a lot of the concerns are addressed by the school, and it's very important the kids are able to have this outdoor time.
Tengo unos padres, no sé si les permitan los
Sí. Sí, que yes.
And just, please, you're invited, but just, and also just for point of information, we're not taking a vote tonight. I just wanted to note on this. This is just being able to elevate what we heard and then to be able to hear from the young people. So.
No vamos a votar esta noche, pero vamos a.
Hola, mi nombre es Nicolasa y soy mamá de un niño de la escuela de LIP. Yo estoy apoyando a que por favor no les quiten ese espacio porque como bien dice mi compañera, los niños se la pasan realmente encerrados. Por ejemplo, en mi caso, mi hijo pues sale de la escuela y pues ya en casa encerrado porque ya no tiene hermanos, no tiene con quién jugar y por lo menos ese espacio ahí en la escuela que les da, él se enfoca y se desarrolla con amiguitos, se expresa, juega y se hace más de amigos. Y si en cambio, si les quitan ese espacio, pues lamentablemente él ya no tendrá ese espacio para expresarse con sus amigos. Eso es todo. Gracias.
A mom of a student, don't take away the space. It is the only time of day that her son gets to play. When he's home, he's often inside, doesn't have siblings, and the ability to be outside and have fun with his friends is incredibly important for his education and growth.
Yay! I just wanted to add on to my mom because I agree with her because we want the space because we used to go all the way to a park close to our school, but that could be dangerous because last time I remember that there was a motorcycle that was crossing, even though we were crossing the street and he was seeing the long line there, and that was could be dangerous because one of our kids can get injured. And we want this space because this is safer for us. It's closer to our school, and we cross any street, and it makes us have. I agree with the other person that just talked because I also don't have siblings to play on, so it's hard for us to get freedom if we don't have where to go.
Amazing. You're so great. Can I give you, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, I want to thank the family, thank everyone. It's very wonderful that you were able to come.
One more.
Oh, okay. And then thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Oh, right into the mic, right in the microphone. Need to get closer.
My name is Maria Torres. I am one of the two kids from the academy. I got nervous and okay. Ok, quería hacerlo en inglés, pero me estoy poniendo nerviosa, no puedo hablar en español. Sí, pedir por favor que nos apoyen en que el espacio continúe. Es bien importante porque yo vivo en un apartamento, no tengo yarda, en la escuela es muy importante. No sé a ustedes si les pasa, pero yo sí siento en mis hijos que cuando estamos mucho tiempo adentro, y si van a la escuela y están todo el tiempo adentro, y ahorita con este Steam que está tan caliente en las calefacciones, hay veces que hasta como que uno no piensa bien. Realmente yo tengo que abrir las ventanas para que nos entre lo fresco. Entonces, si están en la escuela, el sentirse como muy calientes, como que a uno la mente a veces se le nubla. Entonces, es bien importante que tomen ese momento de ese aire afuera, de que se estiren, de que, pues, como estaba mencionando la niña, ¿no? De que tienen entre compañeros. Y sí es verdad, yo lo he mirado cuando los de seguridad que ahí están coordinando, cuando hay una emergencia o si está alguien por salir que lleva prisa, yo he mirado cómo los securities de seguridad de la escuela mueven, pero no sé cómo le hacen, pero en menos de 5 segundos nos movieron bastante todos para adentro, todo para allá. No sé cómo le hacemos, pero ese espacio se hace cuando hay una emergencia. Yo lo he mirado y sí se le da prioridad cuando algo. Y pues solamente eso. Muchas gracias por su atención y su apoyo. Y gracias, es que no nos dejan el espacio.
Another comment in support of the street closure. It is incredibly important. Kids are often inside the apartment. There's no yards, and when they go from inside the home to inside the school, it's just so much inside time. Their thoughts are in the clouds, and you get hot, and and you need the fresh air. And so a window can do it, but much better than a window is the outdoor space. And again, another mention of the emergency operation when there's an important vehicle coming through incredibly quickly in 5 seconds. They split to the sides, very safe and done well. And it's, very important for kids learning.
Thank you so much for doing that too. Yes, thank you. Yes, okay, so we might have a question or two from our transportation committee members and then we'll go on. So Sam, but you gotta grab the mic.
Actually, my question is to the, I'm sorry, your name is?
Bernard.
remember as a kid, we all used to slide under a fence behind that building and play in this gigantic lot behind that building. So I was curious and I noticed the streets are closed. Is that space not big enough for the school, or was that considered? Thank you. Thanks a lot.
To answer his question about the parking lot, it's not solely to LEAP. It's a shared space between LEAP and the pharmacy. And so those parking spaces are also occupied by our pharmacy, which partners is right next door to the building. And so that space also is unsafe because there's going to be cars coming in and out. And some of those cars don't belong to LEAP employees. And so there's no way we can actually navigate when they have to enter or leave. So that's why the parking lot is not used.
Thank you. And then Jerry, did you have a question or we're gonna go to the next? Okay. Bernard, don't go far. You might have to, you're allowed to sit if you want.
I need a translator.
Get those steps in.
So my question is all about Emily, but I do agree with what you guys think. So we talk about making sure that the street is safe and moved when ambulance come. What are they using to block the folks coming in? Are they using a heavy barricade? Are they not using a heavy barricade? And how many teachers will be out there standing by at the gate, like to let ambulance or emergency vehicles in?
I got that.
Yeah.
That's a great question. And so DOT provided us with 3 heavy barricades that we use when we do street closures. In terms of staff, we have our PE teacher who specifically assigned to recess. We also have 2 security guards that are assigned to recess duration of time. Throughout that time, we have 2 teachers who come in for each class. So if we have 4 classes come out, that's 8 additional adults, along with the PE teacher and the 2 security guards that support the recess street closure.
Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you for coming and also for your testimony. Grateful that you were able to be here. Again, this is just part of the process for us to be receiving feedback and then be able to hear about it. And also it's your first time doing open streets, right, for LEAP. The building is new, and you guys are learning as well. And so I think being open to these kinds of questions and feedback is good. Like I said, I did notice a change and big improvement in the signage, and I think that's, you know, kind of iterative. So just come back to the community board before the new school year. We might have some additional suggestions and ideas. We can be a partner with you by making sure that there's some safe, healthy, accessible open space, and that neighbors are educated as well. So thank you.
Yeah, there's someone online who has their hand raised.
Okay, so maybe for not hang up. Do you want?
Louis Ventura, you have your hand raised. Are you looking to speak about this particular agenda item?
Yes, I just had one quick comment.
Okay, go ahead. You have 3 minutes to speak.
I just wanted to let our community members know that if anybody needs access to the street during the closure hours, to please call the school on 917-819-5337 or email us at info@leapschools.org so that we can help accommodate your request.
Can you repeat the phone number again?
917-819-5337.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thanks Bernard, thanks for coming, and appreciate it. So I'm gonna go to the next agenda item. All right, so I think we have, we've got the folks in the room. If you're here virtually, if the meeting might not make sense for the next 10 or so minutes, but then we're gonna come back and we'll report back what happened in the small group, and then we'll go to the last 2 agenda items. For everybody that's in the room, if you are staying for this next agenda item, you might be leaving, and that's okay. This is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna God, how small groups of 4. I'm just gonna kind of like ask you to like turn. So be in a group of 4 people. So you have to like introduce yourself. You should say if you are on the community board, if you're not, if you live in the neighborhood. And then here's the assignment. I'm gonna give out, we're gonna do this for about 10 minutes. And if I feel like I need to give a few more minutes, I'll do it for 15. The agenda item is, what are the priority intersections, corridors, just like in Community Board 7, those important areas like 41st Street and 7th, or 41st Street and 7th Avenue. That's really important intersections right next to the park. We, our neighbor, wants to be able to see additional signage, right? So she highlighted it. I want you to just put the intersection or the corridors or anything specific on this post-it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to collect it, we're going to compile them, and we have a new administration coming in January. This means an overhaul, this means a change, this means an opportunity in how we prioritize and communicate issues with Department of Transportation. This is turning a new leaf. And so what we want to do is we'll be able to have these priority intersections and highlight this in the new administration. We're building on a lot of comments. So the other thing we're going to give you is a cheat sheet, and you might see intersections that are there. You might see corridors that are there that we've brought up in past meetings. So we're going to give that out. So it is 7:10. We're going to come back at 7:20. We're going to report back, and then we're going to do the last 2 agenda items. And the goal, just so everybody knows, getting everybody out of here by 7:40. That's when the meeting is ending. So next 10 minutes. Find your group of 4.
Perfect. Party wrap up. Party after.
All right.
Yeah. Where in the district are you?
I'm on 47.
I have a friend back there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back.
I don't.
Yeah, I can start.
All right. Great thing to do. Yes.
I can start.
Are you writing this out thing on the post-it?
Just write the intersection.
Please. Yeah. You can take up the issue card too. If you want. So which one?
140 all in the percent or one for each? Perfect. Perfect. Great. Great.
You said it doesn't need, what?
There's no crosswalk and there's no light. And it's the major.
I think people always talk about the avenues, because they're double way, a lot of stuff going on. I think the crossing streets are sometimes forgotten for how dangerous they are because they're very steep, because we're on the hill. So like going from 6 to 4 is very, very steep. And at night, it's usually empty. Cars or motorcycles see just like a straight shot downhill open and fly through it. So I hear often like I'm at my home, he's going 45 miles an hour on this like super narrow street, and I think that's something that's very dangerous because that's usually cars go the fastest.
I'm on 47. Do you have, but I don't really need any of the narrow crossing streets between like 6th and 4th Avenue because they're down the street and usually empty. So people at night will just fly down.
I'm actually running that.
To the west, to the west.
Yeah.
No point to the value is also the, that's called double park. And those cars are speed.
Yeah.
And they don't care about that, they park.
Right.
So it's a tight.
I know the intersection.
Chicken is.
Japan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
chicken. Like, did you guys know about this?
Yeah.
It's sort of, Main Street's like offset, so it's not straight.
I know we
Several cars can drive south.
Yeah, a little,
Switchback.
yeah.
Or yeah, you do something like this.
No idea. And it was smart, he was flying.
Oh, yeah.
And,
We still want you.
yeah, I like that.
But yeah, you're absolutely right, because like when they turn right for 47th, I'm trying to make this about me, but it's an example, like when they turn onto 47th Street, they might see like 400 feet completely empty, but that can change at any moment if anyone pulls out, if someone opens the door, if someone crosses the street, or
Oh, they don't find it.
what's that?
I did now.
Thank you.
I think is, you know how it's actually part slope is getting this like amazing treatment where they're gonna make prosperity lanes, make all the pedestrian plots. Probably change the streetscape, so it's almost like it's still gonna leave full action cars, but like it's almost like one park. I feel like that in Sunset Park deserves that treatment. If you go out on that, it's just flooded with people out on the street. And we should like make that corridor prioritized.
Between S1.
In the commercial corridor is really from like it's 30 to like 60. And the trains,
I want to ask you yours. So about 3 years ago, 3 years ago, we had a big discussion on seven. Changing the speed limit. Someone recommended someone this weekend. Right, say, when we doing this? And I also was so we might want to, we doing that with family. So we might talk about 7 a.m. Like, our street that we need extra eyes on is for 16 feet. Or Avenue or to the whatever. Yeah. Wow, it is posted. You know what I'm talking about.
Kevin, is this specifically about safety or kind of just?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know exactly how to. Yeah, right. You work at Costco, right? All the building after building, and all these people are trying to walk over from the subway, they have to cross the road.
And
Right now, where the front guy.
21st Street and 60th.
Oh, yeah, by.
So the whole street.
Areas.
Very long.
I don't think they were really vital. One of the people put
Anything in your life, but you can't stop.
60th Street and 3rd was always a problem.
Yeah.
There's all the lights there. Maybe.
Those are very nice.
They're not very
Lanes
good.
have slow wait time. So there are like,
And some of the major issues like.
on third, driveways.
Tactile things for wearing out.
Yeah, I know, so.
Okay.
Right now.
And gone some of the.
What else?
Also,
We'll talk about
59th
Sunset Park.
Street, we have a problem with the.
Let me go over
Getting the way. The schools.
Okay, they talk about the bike
They're
lane.
walking in
They
and
talk
out
about that.
there are vehicles on the sidewalk for radio months.
I'm in.
And I think that there's some action on that, but that area. Actually, I'll throw one other one. I'll say 39th Street, that's because there's been issues there with,
Yeah, it is for the second floor. That's one of the biggest problems.
I think that was basically
39.
I don't know, it made like the other.
So the cars coming from all over the corner. And the whole block.
So the dangerous, that never happened. That was the sidewalk. And there's also trolley trip. part of that intersection. Somebody, now that was between third and fourth, somebody.
I think the term,
between the trolley
they
tracks.
know, I think it's a turn from speed.
Yes.
Yes. They're not being fixed like the ones on second, so 50th Street between second and third. Yeah, 50th Street.
Ooh. We're fine, but it's all.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Also not seeing the car, so what's happening, I think.
Okay, I'll just say. So this board tells, I know. But 4 p.m. When you're setting up, they ask us about. I'm just gonna say.
These are all true.
Watch 59 followers. And like in the wrong direction.
I mean, even the day of.
Yeah. Cars, there's no in the other direction. Like if your car,
That's why I'm also.
Yes.
After I showed up for the
You know, right here. We can't. Well, there are females where running meetings.
When I saw
Yeah.
Going, I said, I'm coming my way.
Before.
Oh.
I mean, well, you could, yeah. They are like 4 p.m. before. Yeah. There's only 4 members for each time. When I got the videos, I would say, let us know as soon as possible. He is aware. Yeah. As it's between.
I thought you just.
Yeah.
Much better.
Yeah.
Alright. It's absolutely.
Inevitably. Third Avenue right there was 67.
I have some information.
Yeah, put it down. Yeah, that's talking about Theo Street over Third Avenue, to like AM.
Okay, we're gonna bring you back in 2 minutes.
AM to the Asian,
Yeah. 60th Street. 60th Street.
Maybe it's a really big, and they just, they had a.
And like UPS drivers, the drivers, they're supposed to be, those third and.
It's 41st.
That's the ground. Well, he gave good inside information. So how the bikes are, how the cars.
There's no
are.
enforcement there.
See, somebody has.
But so, speaking of Fourth Avenue,
we should
finish
now
the
go out.
lane there with the concrete. Concrete, or, yeah, the concrete, where the paint islands are. And I'll also say that we're at
If they have
60th
money.
and third, because they did paint there, that was actually encouraged
Right,
more
just.
bad parts. In some ways, it made it less safe.
I will go ahead.
Which
65th and third, because the paint, now the people view paint as
The one what they're doing.
yeah.
It's not like 40,000 a year.
Okay, so nominate someone who's gonna just not go through everything, but just because we're gonna have the bits and we'll put them in the minutes, but maybe some highlights.
Oh, I think everybody who provided the.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna come back, and I'll just say this part as you guys are turning around, coming up. So this is the discussion on and highlight again, key things that have been addressed. Haven't yet been addressed. And so again, put them all together. So if you're somebody who missed the meeting or you're somebody who's make this mention again, so please send any of the comments that you have to CB7@cb.nyc.gov. We want to put a letter together, administration, when there's a T commissioner, so that we can share what Community Board 7's perspectives are, at least on transportation. I know there might be other issues that Community Board 7 is thinking about elevating, like housing and land use and other issues, but we want to make sure we capture transportation. So this is not the last time. Take your time over the next couple of weeks. Okay, well, the first person to report out, and I just ask you to do it in 3 minutes or less. Maybe it's John for the first group and then Jamie for the second one.
Sure, I'll go. Basically, our group had a lot of fantastic ideas. We named a lot of specific intersections that have problems. There were a couple themes kind of coming out of it, namely that there are a lot of problems with visibility. And so there was talk about maybe needing to daylight some of these intersections. There was also talk about confusing cycles for who crosses when, and people suggested ideas like having I forget the word, where all the people cross at the same time and then pedestrian scramble. There was also talk about, infrastructure that has not been finished, such as on 4th Avenue, or also areas where there's problems with parking, where people are, parking in areas they're not supposed to, getting in the way of pedestrians. So yeah, there were a lot of different specific intersections everywhere from 61st and 8th, 42nd and 7th, 64th and 5th, 10th Avenue, 16th Street, 65th and 3rd, 60th and 3rd. There were more to 41st and 4th, etc. Well, they'll all go in minutes, but we have a stack. I was saying I have one additional thing. Something on this.
One item, and we've discussed it before, I don't recall that it was addressed. We were talking about having someone look at the timing of the traffic lights, the traffic signals, the crossing signals, by 56th and 55th Street and 3rd Avenue by the hospital. Thank you.
You. Okay, Jamie?
All right, so our group's talked a lot about 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th, and 8th avenues. But particularly highlighted several intersections on 3rd and 4th that need special attention, things we're familiar with and heard before. 5th Avenue, we said should get the same treatment that's been proposed for 5th Avenue and Park Slope, where it's like drastically remodeled to prioritize how it's currently used, which is primarily via pedestrians. Some other things that came up were an increased emphasis on the cross streets, which right now have like unobstructed speeding lanes late at night, and perhaps things like chicanes or some infrastructure to prevent drivers from going too fast when they see a downhill straightaway after dark. Proposal to change 7th and 8th Ave to one way. Some comments on the bike lanes at McDonald Ave and around Greenwood Cemetery, which seems like an opportunity for two-way protected bike lanes. And I think a lot of us wanted the city to kind of finish what they've already proposed, like 4th Ave, but really more importantly, 3rd Ave. Just do the thing that we already do.
Thank you, Jamie. It's great. John will capture those. We'll add them to the other items that we talked about that got flagged last January and February, and then in a September meeting in terms of intersections. So I just appreciate everyone going through that creative exercise. We're going to move on to the next agenda item. We've got the Brooklyn Greenway Tour and 3rd Avenue Street Safety engagement. So in the month of October, we didn't have a transportation committee meeting, but what we ended up doing were actually 2 different opportunities that transportation members as well as other board members had the chance to participate in. And the first one was this Greenway Tour, so the section Hamilton Avenue and 29th Street on 3rd Avenue to look at the way that is almost done, and to do a tour of that. And then the next one is around 3rd Avenue Street Improvement Project, where there hasn't been any update, any progress, no action from DOT still since February 2024. But community board members, transportation members went out and did some engagement. So I'm going to tackle the first one just to say on the Greenway. Raise your hands if you went on the Greenway tour. So yeah, Sam, John, myself, just say, Jeremy, the district manager, was there, Julio was there. We had several board members. Hector came from Community Board 7, and at least a handful of other Community Board 7 members. It was a really good attendance. I think there were about eight or nine people. So this is the Greenway section on Third, and when we did it, I'll just kind of say some of the highlights. So we saw cyclists on the Greenway portion, and so I don't have any visuals, but basically it's a on sidewalk level on Third Avenue. There's a two lane opposite directions cycle path for cyclists. So we did see cyclists on it. We also saw motorcycles. We also saw pedestrians who didn't realize that they were walking in a bicycle lane. And we also saw a lot of movement and action because of the Third Avenue businesses that are there in terms of having driveways that are pulling out, as well as the bus stops that are there. We didn't see a bus stop, but we did note the bus stop. So here, at a high level, here's some of the observations that we had. We asked a lot of questions. Appreciate we did the tour with the Department of Design Construction, DDC, so they get the plans from DDC, and then they're the ones that did. I'll leave it at that. And they told us the progress that they were making. In summary, there were things that we noted in terms of some of the markings. Maybe I'll lead with things that looked positive, which is that there will be functional lights that show when cyclists can go, and it's green and it's red, right? So the traffic lights, the traffic lights. So it's like designated, and those are going in. They're not completed, but that is something that's up. They also were putting in the planters, so they were actually like getting ready to put the planters in. And like I said, we did see people using it already. There were things that we noticed that are missing, and we also talked to some businesses while we were on Third Avenue who said we've been asking for signage. We want more signage for the Greenway so people know it's a Greenway. We noted that when you get to the bus stop on Third Avenue, on one section, there's no Greenway, so you don't know that when you're getting off the bus, you're stepping out of the bus onto the Greenway because there's no markings, and so people who are riding past could potentially hit someone. This did happen in Green Point where there's a Greenway. So there were some observations that we made. So not going through all the detail, but I just want to say that those were some of the things that we saw, and then brought them to the Department of Transportation team that works on the Greenway last Friday. So that was myself, Julio, the district manager, and Jeremy, the district manager, and we got a commitment from DOT that will, at the very least, try and address this issue, the lack of color and paint and no identification where the bus lets off. That they're going to try and address that as soon as possible because it's missing the sign. I will ask if there's anybody else who I guess it's just John or Sam who went on the Greenway tour if they wanted to add any other observations. And then there's I might have someone online. Two community organizations who came on that tour. So it was the Brooklyn Greenway Initiative and Uprose also joined us on that tour. So either one of them are on the call if they wanted to share anything. And then I want to do the fun thing, which is talking about what a celebration could look like. But Sam, do you want to add anything from going on the tour that I missed? I didn't go super detailed, but we'll share the letters through the board.
Hi, just wanted to share an observation that I had during the tour, and it's connected to Katie's comment on folks getting off the bus and not knowing that they're stepping into a bike lane. There's like a 2-block stretch that has no markings. So it's a concern, the bicyclists are not, if there's no bike lane and folks don't know that they're walking bike lane. So that's a concern. The other thing that I captured was that prior to all this, that place was all dirty, so it had to be cleaned up. And it's really nice and clean now. So the question was asked, so who's responsible for the cleaning? Right? DOT is. But who's responsible for observing and reporting it? It's the community. So we have to be the ones to monitor and inform them this place is dirty or getting dirty. And I just want to.
I'm so glad you called that out because that was actually what people said on third is the fact that this has gone in and now there's more eyes on the street. There are more people paying attention and things on that side gotten cleaned up. However, on the other side of Third Avenue, again, this is what people are saying, it's anecdotal, but like trash and illegal dumping has gone up on the other side. The other side of the street. I think what Sam was saying is right. This is in general, and I have had it work, I have to say, so I have to give credit. The 311 trash complaints, they do pick them up. Like it has happened. It does. So I would encourage people, if you do see something, take a photo if you're able to on your phone and then upload it. And then you can always send the code that you get, like the SR
Request number.
or service request number, send it to Community 7. Thank you, Sam.
What's the category? Like if I report it to 311, you got a lot of different
It
categories.
depends what it is. Yeah.
There's also an illegal dumping one, if you see that.
And there's also, there's abandoned bike, there's abandoned bicycle, and then you get to choose, is it connected to private property, public property? And I've been noticing e-bikes that are getting abandoned, and then the parts are being like picked apart. So there's bikes and motorbikes and left. And so that's something we've been seeing good response time from DSNY. So, okay, so that's on the Greenway, but Community Board 7, we don't have to be the only actors in this, but if we would want to do some sort of celebration or something in the spring related to Greenway tours, it's an option, but is there anyone who's online who wanted to give any feedback?
Yes, one person.
One person, okay, great. I think it might be Hunter.
Yep. Hunter, please unmute yourself.
Hi, good to see you. Thanks for raising this. Yeah, we're excited that this segment of the Brooklyn Waterfront Greenway is finally almost done. It really is constructed. I think they just haven't officially declared it done. So we wait so long for the greenways to be built. With every section, we want to have a celebration. So, and sometimes you kind of have to like push the city to do a ribbon cutting and things like that. So I thought potentially we could just target a date maybe in late March or early April once the plantings are in and are coming good and there's nice weather, and have kind of a community celebration and just sort of bring people down to the Greenway and get them acquainted with it, because it is a little bit, it's not really connected to other parts of the Greenway yet. So I think we want to make sure people know it's there and that it's for them, and then use this to kind of build momentum to connect to other parts of the Greenway. And so a question for the board and the folks in the room, sorry I'm not there in person, is I'm curious if you have suggestions for maybe a location, it could be like a parking lot or a building or something that we could use for the celebration that's next to the Greenway. I think it's pretty important that we have our celebration on the Greenway. So yeah, just curious, as you have ideas, either during this meeting or in the future, curious what your ideas are. Thanks.
It's a quiet group, Hunter. So I think what we'll do is we'll leave this an open question. And I want to encourage people, maybe this is the ask, go down there. If you haven't been there yet, you can get yourself down there safely to just walk adjacent to it and be able to give some thought to that. And then we can start to do some planning for the spring. But I think the point of putting this on the agenda is to say, it's really important with these projects and changes that are happening in the community that as board members, right, we might experience it one-to-one, but it's really powerful when we go as a group and we can see it together, we can give feedback, and then we can bring it back to DOT, because sometimes they don't even know. right? So that's important. So thank you everybody for making time to do that. I'm gonna go to the Third Avenue Street Improvement engagement, and I have an ask, but I'm gonna put George on the spot because he did it. He's a board member, so I'll say what it is, and then George, I'm gonna ask you to go up to the mic. And I'll get to my ask. So we walked along Third Avenue, and we engaged businesses. I'm not gonna flash people's phone numbers and stuff, but and we asked them about their use of Third Avenue as a business, as on Third, or as an entity on Third Avenue. We had a survey that we gave them, but we did in real time. These are all the survey responses that we have, so I really want to thank the community board members that helped out with this. So we asked them how they interact with Third Avenue, what are some of the struggles, what are some of the challenges they have. We want to do this more, but wait until the weather gets like just a little bit more manageable. And one of the things that we did is we also showed them the Third Avenue Street Improvement Plan, and the one that the community board had voted on to see more of the design. So the goal behind this is engagement, because sometimes, a lot of people can't make it to a board meeting, right? So it's really important that we're showing up and we're doing, providing the information. So I'm going to ask George to give his comments. I'm going to say that we're going to do this again when the weather improves. This is my ask. Is anyone who's on the community board transportation committee, a data nerd and really excited about processing this? Because it would be good to set up a system to get this in one place and have it, and then be able to add to it. But you have to be on the transportation committee, and I'm going to try to not look at anybody to see if there's a volunteer. Okay, 2 volunteers is fine. Matthew, I saw your hand first, so I'm going to give you this, and then what's going to happen is we're going to get more of these, and so I'm going to have you and Jamie kind of trade off over time, but maybe you can kind of set the system up. I think we'll get, there's only about 35, but I'm anticipating we're going to have a lot more. So thank you. Okay, I'll list you after the meeting. George, anything you want to share from?
Yes, a couple of points. One point is, I think it was great that we went out there. There was a few businesses that didn't know there was a community board or what we were about. And we were all very, very friendly and forward, so they appreciated that. So that's a good plus there. The other thing I was surprised, a lot of them don't want changes, and they were explaining why. We even talked to FedEx and UPS drivers, they gave us their opinion. I'm proud of us that none of us, we just listened. We didn't give our opinion to agree or disagree or argue. We just listened to them. But I think they appreciated that. And it's nice to see that people don't know about the community board, saw us, and we're happy with that. And I think we should do that more and more, because again, they didn't know. And we're telling them to come here. Well, I don't have time. He has a valid point. They can't show up, but they do care. And I tell them, if you don't show up and things change, you can't say anything after the fact. So you got to get involved and be aware of stuff. So I think I like to do that again, and we can walk up and down the streets, and everybody was receptive. There was one person that wasn't, but everybody else was receptive, and they were willing to talk, and we were willing to listen. And I think that's a big plus, listening.
Yeah. And if I could say, I think there was a recognition that Third Avenue is a problem. I think,
absolutely.
Yeah. So it's maybe, well, there's always different ways to tackle problems, but I think there was a recognition safety is an issue, the congestion is. Yeah.
Crossing guards gave good information.
Yeah.
You don't realize, even while we're there have cars going 50, 60 miles on Third Avenue. And some of the roads have bumps. They hit the wrong bump, get a bounce. And that was scary because they still don't learn. So I think they got to enforce the traffic, more traffic lights, because it's dangerous, especially with the kids coming out. So you wait 2 seconds. Big deal. But there are people that don't want to. And that's scary. That's really, really scary. I love biking, and most bicyclists are very respectful of the road. Some people say, oh, this and that. Maybe 1 or 2, but most of them follow the road. They usually wave their hand and you let them go by and so forth. And everybody's concerned about kids. I always say, you see a bouncing ball, what's coming next? A kid. So you got to be careful. The kids get excited out of school. they wanna run, you gotta watch, you have to watch. I have a business and now more, I get on the bus or I walk instead of taking my car to every block. Save gas, walk a little bit, it's good exercise, and it's not bad once you get used to it. Some people have to drive, just take it easy, take it easy. There's no big deal in just walking around. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Thank you. And also George, and gave us folders and he was very helpful for the event. So thank you. And we will do more, once we get out of the sticky weather. So, I held, oh, yeah, sure. No, it's okay. I was gonna say, I held promise just 5 minutes late.
Hopefully Hunter is still on. I don't know if you recall, we had a tour of a year or so ago of the city recycling center. And if I recall, they have space, and if I remember correctly, they did offer space if need be. I was thinking perhaps we can reach out to them. I think it would be more than appropriate, to celebrate a brand new greenway at a recycling center.
Very cool.
It's fine to put it up there.
And I'm looking at the location and that is 29th. That's pretty cool. Good idea. Okay. I don't know if Hunter's on, but we'll follow up with him on that. Yeah, Hunter, that's a good idea. So we'll, I'll message you about that. And I know, again, I didn't see them, at the meeting, but I know Uprose, had also provided some comments. So they might have suggestions, so we can also hear back from them on this agenda item. Thank you, everybody, and I will, I'll follow up with you. I want to thank everybody and I'll see you at next week's board meeting. Thank you. Adjourned. Thank you.
Yeah.